This week, we focus on the Justice Sector Reform Plan funded by the European Union and implemented by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. Lagos is one of the pilot states, and stakeholders have kick-started and deliberated extensively on an action plan. Also showing, some senior members of the Nigerian Bar Association speak about the kind of president the NBA needs. The program is Law Weekly on Channels Television, and I am Shola Sheyeli. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, last week Tuesday kick-started a process aimed at developing an action plan for justice sector reform in the country. The justice sector reform is to be carried out in 10 states across the country, with Lagos as one of the pilot states. The reform seeks to encourage a strategic and sustainable approach towards the justice system as a means of enhancing good governance, respect for human rights, and the rule of law. I was one of the participants at the Lagos Action Planning Workshop, but let's look at some of the highlights from there.
Of the project.
The UNODC implemented project, which is funded by the European Union, gathered all these justice sector stakeholders under this roof. Present here are representatives of some federal government agencies and particularly key actors in the Lagos State justice sector. Officials of the Federal Ministry of Justice, National Planning Commission, National Human Rights Commission, judges and magistrates of the Lagos State Judiciary, members of the different branches of the Nigerian Bar Association in Lagos, police officers, prison officials, the media, officials of the State's Office of the Public Defender OPD, and other justice sector institutions in Lagos, and some civil society members.
This is why the
UNODC has the experience of working with both local and international actors across the globe in various key sectors. It is particularly a United Nations agency entrusted with the mandate to assist member states in their efforts against corruption, illicit drugs, crime, and terrorism. And it is for this reason that the European Union and the federal government of Nigeria decided that it is the best implementing partner to kickstart this justice sector reform plan, with Lagos as the pilot state. Lagos State has been proactive with its criminal justice reform plan, and the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Adekpaye, who declared the action planning workshop open, says the state welcomes this assistance because it is committed to do more to improve the justice system.
As a pilot state, we are mindful of the need to get it right, so that others can benefit from the models that we establish. I assure all our friends that this is a road Lagos State is very comfortable with. Aside from our traditional strongholds of civil and criminal procedural reforms, improved case management facilitation, criminal justice sector coordination, provision of free mediation services to the public through the Citizens Mediation Center, establishment of the Crime Data Register, which is in use by all stakeholders in the criminal justice sector. We have recently also established a legal advisory unit and witness support unit to enhance our prosecution services. We also pioneer community service as an alternative to imprisonment, as well as a one-stop child center to tackle child abuse and other offenses affecting children. Lagos State also hosts the Mirabel Center to assist with cases of sexual offenses, and there is a plan in place to establish a database of sex offenders, amongst other projects to enhance the efficacy of the criminal justice sector. However, we are inspired still to do much more, even as we fine-tune and improve upon the established agencies and processes, some of which I have earlier mentioned. Most importantly, we still need to see more of expertise and training in the area of forensic examinations and crime scene investigations for the police investigators. For the prosecutors also, as well as state council, we need a very strong consumer protection agency, which is obviously a necessity in our society at this time. We are all privy to the standard of goods and services available in our markets, and the need to place put the producers on their toes and the marketers so as to ensure that every Nigerian gets the quality of service that he or she deserves or has paid for.
Representatives of the various justice sector institutions here also made contributions on what the focus, plans, required actions and outcomes should be.
I am particularly delighted that Lagos State, I don't know the criteria that was used in the selection, but I understand from what I've heard this morning that there are 10 states which the UNODC and the EU is working with in developing an action plan for justice sector improvements and reforms. They can only signify one or two things. It's either we're getting something right and they think that we have potential, or we're so bad, we need help. So it is either of those two. But whatever it is, I think that we definitely can improve.
If you ask any institution, not just in the justice sector, political others, they will tell you that one of the challenges that they face is lack of funding. Even at the federal level, we also face similar institutions. So we need, therefore, to harmonize resources to ensure that resources are deployed to areas where ultimate value can be gotten from the investment of such resources is very important. And that is one fundamental role that the coordination committee will play in driving the reform in the justice sector.
Prior to now, the EU had conducted an entire assessment of the justice sector in Nigeria and realized that in order to address deficiencies in the justice sector and to enhance its delivery, the one way to do this was to harness resources across all the justice sector institutions in the country. So we're looking at the judiciary, that's the judges. We're looking at the ministries of justice, where we have the prosecutors. We're looking at the police. We're looking at the prison service. And then we're looking at civil society, including the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria. And what's been realized is that in the past, what normally happened is that only one of those institutions would be enhanced in terms of capacity, capability, and structures. But this particular project is seeking to draw all these institutions together and address reform across the board, so that what you have in one, you're replicating in the other, so as to bring a uniform enhancement to the justice sector in Nigeria.
After the opening formalities, the stakeholders broke into 4 groups. The first group was to consider issues of coordination between justice sector institutions, while the second dwelt on enhancing training, research and operational capacity in justice delivery. The third group had the responsibility of considering the challenges of enhancing access to justice and respect for human rights, while the fourth group looked into the issues of strengthening the accountability, integrity, oversight and independence of the justice sector institutions. The discussions spanned a 3-day period during which the groups discussed not only the challenges but also the solutions and the likely activities that will bring about such solutions, the parties responsible for driving required reforms, the cost of driving such reforms, and even suggested a starting date and what priority to accord measures and activities. All of this were then put forward at a plenary as a plan of action, thoroughly debated, and at the end, an outcome with clear step-by-step actions for justice sector reforms.
We looked at ways in which the judiciary can and the judges can adjudicate effectively and efficiently. Definitely, they need witnesses in court. Definitely, the inmates have to be produced on time. There were so many things. It was an extensive discussion. I'm sure we will see a difference, and the action plan put in place now will ensure that things move forward in Lagos like never before.
We had a problem before whereby the police might not send the files in time, or generally the public just complain that, oh, advisories are not coming out in time. But thinking that the basic problem is with the Office of the Prosecutions, but sincerely it is not. But now we've adopted a system where people who are in advisory unit don't go to court. So that way advisory is coming out faster. And in this workshop, we identified that. And then for the court going, the people who are going to court, they don't do advisory. They concentrate on court.
I think before this workshop, many participants, especially legal practitioners, have really not placed the media in a position where they should occupy in their mind. They see the media as just a member of the public, and as a result, they have little or no significance to the sector. But during this workshop, myself and my colleagues were able to draw their attention to the relevance of media in informing the public about whatever decision, whatever activities that are happening in the judiciary sector. And I think that should be a good takeaway for them, because I learned that previous workshops like this, media representatives were never invited. But this time around, I think it's a way forward and it's commendable.
Whatever we deliberate here has come to play. So definitely, police cannot hide anymore than to respect, whatever action plan that is being concluded here.
The next is that we'll try to present this action plan to the executive and the leadership of all the justice sector institutions so that they buy into it and take it as their own. And then we start working out modalities, prioritizing activities, and knowing what we want to do this year, what we're going to do next year, and then how to move forward and sustain the interventions even after the end of the project.
Apart from Lagos, Rivers, Imo, Anambra, Benue, Bayelsa, Yobe, Osun, Katsina, and the FCT have also been selected by the European Union to benefit from this justice sector project.